Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to ORL Online Racing League with me, CRGGO, George Morgan, also joined by Manuelos, also known as Maku. Maku, how are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I am fine, and we're heading to Australia,
Yes,
far, far away
in the Southern
from us.
Hemisphere.
Yeah, exactly. But though, normally the first race of the season, so basically a place where you don't talk much about championship, but you see the cars for the first time competing in a race.
You do. I got to say, a very, very swift contrast in comparison to Real F1. Australia, very synonymous with the start of a Formula One season. This time, it's well and truly within the season. We are here in Australia in the midst of a challenge in the constructors' standings. Obviously, the driver standings battle looks all fine and sealed, but P2 certainly isn't, with Simon Vigang and CRG Napadovsky still very much in the midst. You could just see there, looking at the driver standings, Jarno Opmeer cruising to victory in the championship. 161 points to his name, a gap then back to 65 points of Simon Vigang, CRG Simon, who is occupying P2 in the McLaren. Looking further down, you've got Napadovsky, Kologon. I can't quite pronounce that correctly. I'm going to say Kologon. Infamous in P5 as well for Renault, who's been in amongst it this season. Sven Zerner, who's been subbed in by James Baldwin as well once again today, who's been in good form as of recent, and certainly looking to once again impose a podium on our hands here today. Naturally, the team standings at this moment in time currently showing Mercedes on top with 188 points, and certainly going into this one, Manuel, we're going to be in for a real corker.
Yeah, I think we are. We have Red Bull in second place. The only one who might catch them with Hayes, and who's the other Red Bull driver? At least on the track, it's currently Flying Finn, just a reserve driver in the championship. But though he will be collecting the points today.
He certainly will, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because Flying Finn, coming off a really good race last week, actually winning in what was a phenomenal event, the Chinese Grand Prix, managing to hold off the advances of Jarno Opmeer. It really was a test of strategy last weekend. Last race weekend, being last Thursday, Maku. It certainly was electrifying, and we saw a really phenomenal finish. And Flying Finn on his return to league racing, managing to notch himself onto P1 despite the advances of Alvaro Carreton, who looked like he was going to be set to win, but a penalty, a drive-through penalty, caused him to actually lose out on P1 to that of Flying Finn. So commiserations, but Alvaro Carreton, he was quick towards the end, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was really quick. I think he's someone who even can battle Jarno, and I'm really looking forward to this, as we are seeing then soon the first qualifying times, and then of course in the race later on, what they can do on track, because of speed very missing for Jarno for a little bit of competition. I mean, of course, the other guys, as we've seen last time, or as we've seen in where was it? Was it America? Where Infamous was fighting with Jarno a lot of the time. Was it America, or did I just? I could have just looked to the right in. Yes, it was America, where Infamous and Jarno had a battle for first place.
They certainly did. It was a right tussle at the start. Infamous actually took the early advantage going into the race, but very early on suffered a DNF, and I got to say it was really unfortunate. He sustained quite a considerable amount of damage. Eventually, the car was thought to be terminal. He retired from the session, was unable to finish the race, a race that he looked like to have in the bag. And it was this man, Jarno Opmeer, who in fact took the victory. 119.190. He's already set here in qualifying. P1 on the board for now. Nabadovsky in P2. 119.256, showing that form that we know he can find, certainly here on the circuit of Australia. Just a few facts about Australia before we head into the nitty-gritty, that is qualifying. Built round a large man-made lake, this circuit at the Albert Park Street circuit, very much known to be the start of Formula One, as we have recently discussed, but host to many great names in their stands that they have across the track, as you might be familiar with a few of the names: Fangio, Moss, Jones, Brabham, Piquet, Ricardo, Clark, Waite, Schumacher, Prost, and indeed Senna, but not forgetting Webber, who most recently drove for Red Bull. And I got to say, very, very long list of quality names there and legends that have appeared in a Formula One racing car throughout the years. We're now witnessing more and more drivers coming out of the track now. VSR Onyx joining us as well here today in the Haas. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on as well. Bernardo Perez occupying the Ferrari here today for the first time. I believe he was Williams until recently, and he's taken the seat today in the Ferrari, which is a bit different. Obviously, we haven't got Photon here today, and no sign of Steve either, as we now witness Leonard going round the Brabham corner, and he'll very soon be making his way along what I'm going to call the Albert Road, which is on the left-hand side next to the track. Where the Racing Point's going through now, making his way round the next right. A very stunning track, I would say. A stunning country, though, for starters, Australia. Very warm, so you can imagine track temperatures are going to be reasonably high, though probably not enough to maintain grip on your initial fast laps. You've got to try and heat those tyres up on the car in order to get the maximum potential out of these F1 cars. Certainly the pace provides the grip, and to get that pace you really need to heat up the tyres and ensure that they stick to the track. So we're looking to get as much throttle down as possible at this street circuit of Melbourne, Maku.
Yeah, but you have to say the circuit as it is really nice. The tyres, they're pretty consistent, unlike last time we've been commentating where I think the soft tyre just was able to do 6 laps or around there before he was really torn off. And here we have much more consistent tire durabilities, and yeah, I think therefore we can look forward to more classical pit stop strategies like medium soft or soft medium. Yeah.
Certainly can, and it's going to be interesting to see which way these drivers go. I'm just watching Alvaro Carreton at the moment. He was subject to the time penalty last Thursday, which dropped him down the standings at China. Looking for retribution here today, and you can't count him out because, as you can see, he's letting that car go in front. He's got bags of pace, this man, and certainly the Williams car does provide him enough, despite the differences in game performance to real performance, but we won't speak about that as Alvaro Carreton makes his way down the straight. We see the paddock on the right hand side as Jan Fieler coming out the pit lane, letting the Williams through there, and Alvaro Carreton looking to pounce on any opportunity here today to land him on P1. Remember, he's got a string of drivers up top. This league not short of quality. The likes of Napadovsky, Simon, James Baldwin, Alvaro Asnar and Jarno Opmeer not to be trifled with. As you can see now, Alvaro Carreton making his way around the next left-right. The Williams looking potent once again, very much like he was in China, where he was putting in severe delta times in the final dying laps at the Shanghai circuit. And I got to say, he looked absolutely venomous out there on track, clinging to the asphalt like something possessed, making overtakes like it was going out of style, and I'm sure he's going to do it again as we see more movement happening at the top. Bernardo Perez moving into P4 in the Ferrari, looking like he's really feeling the Ferrari at the moment. Obviously a contrast of recent results that he's had in the Williams, where he does qualify well, does Bernardo Perez, so always keep an eye out for him, and known to make some superb overtakes as well, as we now witness yellow flags in Sector 3. Hopefully that won't disrupt Alvaro Carreton's lap too much as he makes his way around the next couple of corners now. He'll be making his way onto the straight, those soft tyres burning in the heat as he makes his way past the paddock. What's he going to post? It's Alvaro Carreton with a P1 of a 119.180, nearly in a 10 milliseconds almost within the time. Phenomenal scenes there from Alvaro Carreton.
Yeah, another really beautiful lap from him. But I think Jarno can even gain a few tenths on his lap now. And I've heard that his personal best is somewhere in the higher 118s. So maybe we'll be able to see something like that. Maybe not. I mean, it depends on your personal form. So, but yeah, we always hope for fast laps, and a battle for the pole position is always very interesting.
Certainly is. Now we're watching Simon Vigang as well, obviously up there in P2 in the driver standings as things stand after China. A very consistent driver, I got to say. He's been up there in the battles with Jarno Opmeer, And obviously earlier in the season, Speed Barry, before he left the league, we watched a very intoxicating, thrilling encounter at Monza where those three came together in what was a classic, certainly, and I definitely enjoyed commentating that, and I'm sure you did as well, Maku. It was a corker, to say the least, as we now watch Simon Vigang make his way round towards the next chicane. The McLaren looking ever potent. They've got a driver change as well. Obviously, James Baldwin in the seat once again as Alvaro Aznar nails a 119.087. Where did that come from, Alvaro? As he makes his way through the initial corners, knocking off Alvaro Caraton and Jan Watmir, and Napadovsky also knocks him down a peg or two because he moves up to P2. So Napadovsky moving in there. We're getting closer to the 118s, Maku.
Yeah, we're getting really close. The border is just 87 milliseconds away from Alvaro Aznar's time.
Well, Simon Vigang, unfortunately, having a little slip going into the latter stages of the circuit. He ended up on the gravel, and he now goes into the pit lane. Obviously, Jarno Watmir looking to improve on his time. He's on an outlap right now, looking to get the tyres and the engine, the brakes prepared, ready for yet another crack at top spot. And you wouldn't put it past him, like you said, Baku. This 118 certainly looks on the cards. And I'm sure these guys will be looking to squeeze every ounce of time and ability that they have in their pockets in order to get themselves on top spot here in this classification. We're certainly going to be in for a real wow encounter here at the Australian circuit. The home, obviously, like we said before, of Daniel Ricciardo, yet to nestle himself a podium at his home circuit. We were hoping to see something maybe happen this year. I mean, obviously Renault with a lot of work to do, and obviously Ricciardo would be left begging, at least for the time being. But Alvaro Aznar not having such problems here in qualifying. 119.087. As we discussed, we now witness Jarno Watmir just slow down around the few bends, preparing his car ready for the start of his flying lap as he hugs on to the apex on the entrance of that final bend as he swings the silver arrows down the straight, heading into the first corner, and he's going to want to hit this apex pretty much flush, and he does so indeed. And I got to say, that's looking quick. The silver arrows really meaning business this time, and Jarno Watmir may have the lead in the championship, but you may remember from the interviews we've had recently, he's not just here to win a championship, he wants to win every race going into the end of this championship. It's not over, he says, as he makes his way through the next couple of bends on this mini straight, the what I'm going to call the Albert Road, as I said before, leading into turn 6 and 7 on the outset. Bursting power, want to edge onto the sidewall on the right hand side, try and squeeze as much out of the corner as you go into the next chicane, what we're going to call the Clark chicane, and burst your way out of turn 10, heading onto the almost a semi-straight, a swinging left-hander into the fast, quick left-right, which is turns 11 and 12. You got on the inside the lake, you could see it, you could barely see it in fact, just beyond the fence. You could just see it on the right-hand side where the yachts are all parading. Very soon he'll be going past the Ascari section, heading into 13 and 14 with Stewart dead ahead. And as he swings his car around the outside, straight back on the power, as you can hear him there in 5th, up into 6th, going around the final couple of bends. You want to be down to 2, quick shift to 3, round the final bend now on turn 16, burst on the power with the DRS open, heading up towards the line. Is Jarno going to break the curse? He is! A 118.995! He's the first to smash the 18s, Maku.
Exactly 5 thousandths of a second down on the 118, on the 119. But yeah, let's see what the others can do. I'm sure it wasn't all of the best we've seen so far. I think the track is also now in a little bit better condition, so faster times are now possible. And I think Alvaro Caraton is actually on the lap 2, and he's already 1/10 down. So maybe he can catch Jarno. He needs 0.184 seconds at least to get provisional pole position.
Well, that's what we want to see, and certainly Alvaro Caraton looking to make it happen for himself as well in his Williams car. Just coming round towards the latter stages now, he'll be bursting into Sector 3, he is now in fact, making his way around the couple of stiff 90-degree angled corners. He makes his way around the sweeping right, very soon to be met with a left, which he's going to take now, and he's taking it very cleanly indeed. I think he's just preparing himself. In fact, he's going into the pit lane. He's not preparing another lap. It looks like he's going to have a rethink and try again next time, he says. Bernardo Perez out on a lap as well, and an outlap, should I say. James Baldwin, a man I've got to say who's showing a good stretch of form at the moment. Obviously, since he had a bit of a tough race at the USA where he picked up a puncture in the dying laps. Obviously, the softs weren't able to go to the length of time he was hoping for. A few drivers did manage to finish on the softs, but you're almost riding your luck towards the end. certainly at the United States circuit. But since then, Maku, he's been in good form. And I've got to say, China looked rather smart for him.
Yeah, he got nearly his first podium today, was fourth place. So the closest you can get to the podium without being on it. And yeah, I think he will at least try to get at that position today too, but his goal will be podium.
Didn't he get podium in Austria?
In Austria, he wasn't. Wait.
Did we do? Actually, no. That might be in the social race, was it?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, well, the social race was Austria. We didn't even race Austria in the championship.
So it would be the social race where he picked up the podium. I'm getting my wires crossed
Exactly.
as we now see James Baldwin come across into the line dead ahead. Ignore me, Maku, I'm having a mare. As they come down towards turn 1 and 2. James Baldwin in the sister McLaren car, making his way around turn 1, maybe just catching the grass a little bit there on entry and exit, but that's not going to help. That's not going to help, obviously. But that won't stop him as they make their way around the next right hand of the Brabham stand, right on the side there, as you can see, and the orange McLaren looking venomous. Husky chocolate written on the back of the DRS wing, well, the rear wing, should I say, as they draft their way down towards the next semi-chicane. And looking to field a fast lap time here, James Baldwin. Obviously synonymous with league racing, the world's fastest gamer they call him. Can he prove it today here at Australia against these big wigs that he's going to be tussling with over many races and series yet to come? As we now see the McLaren bomb his way around the swooping left-hander, soon to be met round with a quick left-right, and he takes it well, bursting out now onto the swooping right yet again. And he's now in sector 3, looking to hug on to the apex as best he can now. He's got another right left to go, and then he'll have the final right corner after that as they make their way down now. You can see the DRS will eventually start loading up. Oh, just losing the back end there slightly. That's not going to help. A loss of grip there as he made his way around. You just see the home straight beckoning now for the McLaren. What's it going to be here for James Baldwin? He does improve at 119.272 P5, and he goes ahead of his teammate CRG Simon. And McLaren could do with a good weekend, as some good results could very well put them ahead of Red Bull, who are occupying P2 in the constructors' standings.
Yeah, for sure, the points will help. They both need to chase down Mercedes, of course. But yeah, therefore we'll be seeing some battles. And is James trying some donuts, or is he just retiring?
I think he's taking a break, maybe a coffee break or something like that. You never know. Stopping in for a drive-through.
Yeah. Quickly going to make. I mean, you're very close to the normal roads here in Albert Park, so yeah.
Is there a McDonald's in around the Albert Park?
I'm not sure. We just could Google it now.
Yeah, maybe a Burger King or something. You never know.
No, that's what he's just doing. He's searching it up on Google Maps.
Yeah, is he? Oh, that's probably what he's doing. Just park it up, just checking his sat nav to make sure that it's in the approximate area. As we know, watch CRG Simon make his way out of the fast left-right, and he'll be looking for, as we now see Bernardo Perez and Infamous, who actually managed to creep his way up into P3 with a 119.166. He's actually finished his qualifying lap, and Napadovsky actually knocks him off as well. So Williams once again proving to be a phenomenal force here. And remember, Williams currently occupying P4 in the championship, 73 points to their name as it stands. They made a dramatic revival over the course of the last couple of races, and I got to say, Napadovsky really starting to come into his own in the second half of this season, Maku. We didn't actually see a lot of him as Alvaro Aznar goes quick and actually matches the time figure for figure with Jarno Amir and Simon Vigang with just mere tenth of a sec, under 10 milliseconds. Knocks it on P1. Phenomenal scenes, Maku.
That's just incredible. But Jarno is on another lap too.
And he's about to come across the line. We're about to finish qualifying. Can Jarno do it? No, he can't. In fact, the time remains the same by what is it, like 1,000th of a millisecond or something like that?
Yeah.
Literally that tight.
No, Simon is 1/10 faster.
Good Lord. That's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. He's actually matched. Him and Alvaro Aznar are matched time for time.
No. Yeah, Alvaro and Jarno. I was just thinking Simon also matched the time because I didn't notice there was an 8, not a 9.
Oh, no, there's a 10th, just well, a 10th of 1,000, I suppose, or something like that, separating those three. But absolutely phenomenal there from Simon Vigang to to knock that on, and he does take pole. I got to say, that really, we did not see that coming whatsoever, folks, but phenomenal work from Simon Vigang to take P1 here, and that'll put McLaren in a great position here at the Australian Grand Prix. That's going to certainly help their efforts in cruising to yet another podium. We'll run through the classifications for you now, folks at home. Hope you're all having a good night. CRG Simon taking P1 for McLaren. Alvaro Aznar with a P2, level on the front row of the grid. Jarno Watmir P3, Napadovsky P4, VSR Infamous P5 late on. Alvaro Caraton yet to find the form that he had in China. Bernardo Perez P7, James Baldwin P8, Hayes in P9, Onyx here in P10, Jan Fieler in P11, Corno in P12, Calcifer P13, Leonard in P14, Flying Finn after his win last week, down in the reaches of P15, Jake in P16, Brownie 17, and CRG Common will make up the numbers at the back of the grid without setting a time. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. In fact, we'll have to keep an eye on Common because I think last week he had some network problems, Maku. But
oh yeah, right.
Yeah, but a phenomenal qualifying session. Did not expect that so late on in qualifying. It certainly gave us something to shout about. Simon Vigang, obviously P2 in the Drivers' Championship, but P2 is still very much up for grabs. You've got Napadovsky, who makes up the top half of that grid, and as well as many others. It's going to be a close call.
Yeah, but you know what? We've actually seen this like a few times. That Simon is like in the midfield during qualifying, and then his last lap is just kind of perfect and beats everything.
It certainly does, and
it happened a few times already, and I think that's always something. Yeah, that's always something to look at. You don't expect it actually, but it happens like really often.
I think they do it on purpose, Maku, to be honest. I think they do.
I'm just going slow for one lap and then...
Yeah, just to wind us up, I think. But they're about to go out on the formation lap now, and very soon they'll be giving us their... showing us... basically warming up their tyres, ready for the start of the race, really, as they make their way around turn 1 and 2. So Toro Rosso on the front row of the grid here. We haven't seen that very often this season. Alvaro Aznar, in fact, 13 points to his name this season, and already he's put himself in a good situation to pick up some serious points as long as he can take advantage of that P2 spot. And naturally, it's going to be a battle between him and CRG Simon round to the first and second corners to get the advantage going round the bends now. But certainly Simon's going to be pleased with that P1 without a shadow of a doubt. Jarno Opnier in P3 still very much in the firing line to take the top spot. Napadovsky, though, in the Williams, doing better than his teammate Alvaro Caraton, and certainly showing that he's no fool as he's found himself in P3 in the championship, chasing Vigang for P2, and certainly he's not going to be letting that slide without a shadow of a doubt. Infamous looking for retribution after what happened at the US of A, and I'm sure he'll be looking to once again find his way to the top end. We got a phenomenal litter of cars here, Maku. Phenomenal litter of drivers, should I say, as well. Both McLaren and Williams, a very potent team. Can we expect some team fireworks here at Australia?
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's always the opportunity for that, and we have those teams that are really strong. I mean, Mercedes just had a good start of the season, and I mean, Jarno is always getting the most of the points, mostly. Yeah, that's why Mercedes is leading, but McLaren and Williams, and sometimes also Red Bull, they're doing both drivers do really consistent races, and therefore get also a lot of points, but they just still need to chase Mercedes. But have you taken a look at the weather? Looks kind of cloudy. You think there's a chance of rain?
It could well be. It does look a bit overcast. I've got to say, we haven't seen a lot of a patchy cloud. I'm just looking at it now with greater detail, and it does look like we could be in store for some wet weather as we see the drivers march into their slots. I hope that's not going to upset the strategies going down the road, but it'll certainly put us in an interesting situation. And I'm trying to look for the best camera angle for you guys, but it's proving to be a bit tricky. There's Simon Vigang just nestling himself up on the track now as we now prepare for the off. The light's about to go red, folks. First light, second light, third light, fourth light, the fifth light! And his pedal to the metal, go, 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 go! CRG Simon gets away well, but so does the Toro Rosso of Alvaro Aznar, slips in behind, but here's Jarno Opnier on the outside, but he's not alone. Napadovsky meets him toe-to-toe. Alvaro Aznar slipping through there. Vigang getting a very difficult turn around turn 2 and got swamped by that of the Toro Rosso and the Mercedes. Looking forward, though, we have got a tussle there for second place. You can see there, Napadovsky trailing Jarno Watmir, trying to pounce all over the Silver Arrows as they make their way around the next right-hander. Maku, drama at the start.
Really drama. Simon getting on the grass, dropping 3 places back. Oh my gosh, we have now, like, all the guys in second, third, and fourth place. We have now in first, second, and third. So yeah, Jarno is surely chasing Alvaro Asna for his first place, the only place he wants to get in the races. And Napadovsky is for sure looking for points too. I mean, we haven't seen him a lot in these podium spots.
Well, I'm just looking further down now. Alvaro Carreton just making an overtake there on Infamous, managing to whittle his way up to P5 for the Williams team. So already making overtakes from the get-go as we make our way around lap 1. Obviously, DRS not coming into fruition until lap 3, as we now see another battle here. Infamous really in trouble at the moment. James Baldwin now having a look inside on the Renault driver as they make their way down the straight, and he will have the slipstream as they make their way down towards turn 1. And now the intervals are starting to show, and as you can see, the gap between James Baldwin and Infamous thinner than a fly's eyelash on the outset of turns 1 and 2. The Renault having to plug away to try to avoid the incoming attacks there from the McLaren as they make their way around the next right-hander. The Brabham stand beckons right ahead as you now see these cars filter their way around this little sector, heading into sector 2 very shortly. As you can see now, James Baldwin plugging away, trying to close down on Infamous ahead of him. But now the gap between Jarno Watmir and Alvaro Asnar starting to close slightly, but Alvaro Asnar holding his own as Kamil Komon, who started from the back of the grid, has whittled his way up to P11. He's had a phenomenal start, Maku, and now finds himself toe-to-toe here with the Racing Point of Leonard, and he has taken a position. He's moved up to P11. He's now just got 1 second to find on Flying Finn, and I'm sure he has got closing gaps on his mind right now. Can he fight back at last week's winner, Maku?
Yeah, let's see. I mean, catching up to Flynn will be a challenge, but it's always possible. It's a little bit of a big gap, but yeah. But have you seen Bernardo Perez, the kind of new Ferrari driver, now overtaking Jan Fiedler? But he's fallen down the grid completely, and Calcifer spun.
We've lost Calcifer there. He went for a little bit of a ride going into Sector 3, and certainly that's not going to help on the last stages of the lap. He's now got a mountain to climb as they make their way onto lap 3 now. The DRS will be active, and once again, Jarno Watmir sticking to the back of Alvaro Asnar like glue at this moment in time, trying to get right into his gearbox, and I'm sure he has a race win on his mind as they make their way down towards the next right-hander. As you can see there, the Williams of Napadovsky, though, not giving any breath free of Jarno Watmir. He's right close and tight to the back end of the Mercedes. The Silver Arrow is really not getting an ounce to breathe here as he tries to make his move or try and get closer and closer to the back of Alvaro Asnar. Napadovsky not having any of it, as we've discussed. So only 2.5 tenths separating those two, with CRG Simon still very much in the mix. Only 6 tenths behind Napadovsky as things stand. The two CRG boys trying to make their way up the grid. And Alvaro Carreton also making waves after overtaking Infamous, trying to plug on the back end of Simon as things stand. So the two Williams very much in the mix. But don't forget the other McLaren of James Baldwin. He's closing the gap too and trying to make a move on Infamous where he can. And I'm sure those two will have a battle of their own very, very soon. As we look further up the grid, though, Jarno Watmir is still sticking to the back of Alvaro Asnar. And you've got to think, as we head into the home straight, Jarno's got moves on his mind as they make their way around the latter stages of lap 3, heading into lap 4 very, very soon. You can see the pit lane there. They won't be taking that just yet, but I'm sure in the next 3 to 4, maybe 5 laps, we'll start seeing them executing the strategies as we now see the Silver Arrows trying to roam up to Alvaro Asnar. Nothing happening right now, though, but there's another DRS sector here at this straight here now, and very soon it'll go green, and he does indeed. He's got the slipstream here. Jarno Watmir diving down the inside like a man possessed and takes P1. What a move there by the Silver Arrows, executed perfectly, but a little bit of a slide. That's not going to help, and certainly the gap will remain closed at Alvaro Asnar, so that front wing is going to remain glued to the back of the Mercedes. Don't forget him behind, though, Napadovsky looking to make a move too, and really trying to plug away on the back of the Toro Rosso. He's not leaving the side of these two cars without a shadow of a doubt as they make their way towards the next chicane, and CRG Simon closing the gap slowly on Napadovsky, still maintaining that half-second gap, mind, but that is now being whittled down to just over 3.5 tenths. But who would be surprised given the fact that we've got a solid DRS train here in lap 4, Maku?
Yeah, I have to say, it looks almost like NASCAR here, the Formula 1. They're all of them are so close together. All of them are so good drivers. Yeah, just recently took a look at Bernardo Perez. He fall back. He's now climbing up the standings again. In 15th, overtook Janfield and Brownie. But yeah, let's wait and see what happens at the front. I think we'll see another overtake, maybe.
Yeah.
Nafradovsky's getting close and going side by side with Alvaro Aznar down into the first corner.
He certainly is, and on the outset, he's still going wheel to wheel there with the Toro Rosso, and he's putting up a fight, but he goes for a ride, and he loses the place there, and in comes Simon Vigang, who made a move on the inside and took advantage of the situation. He probably didn't expect it, to be honest, but the Toro Rosso was planted pretty much into the side of the track. In fact, I think it was the Williams that was planted into the side road, and unfortunately lost a little bit of traction there and ended up slipping up. He had to literally slow down to avoid the car losing traction, and that allowed Simon Vigang to slip in on the inside, and now he's chasing Jarno Opmeer. In the meantime, Jarno Opmeer must be thinking, thank you very much. That gap has increased to 1.5 seconds, so he's now broken clear and able to just focus on what's going on ahead of him. If that's enough to break the DRS, it's going to be very difficult for any other driver to close the gap, and that's going to allow Alvaro Aznar to fight back and try and battle against CRG Simon, who very much is a sitting duck if that DRS isn't restored, Maku.
Yeah, of course, and then of course we also need to take a look at Alvaro Carreton, who's now in front of Napadovsky. Also, we've seen a really fast driver. We've seen it also in the last race in China. And with first pit stop, Napadovsky, maybe he's got some front wing damage. But yeah, I think Alvaro Carreton will now take a look at Alvaro Aznar, name colleagues, for third place. For podium spots.
Well, he's making a move down, slipping on the inside there of Alvaro Aznar, heading into the next corner. What a move there by Alvaro Carreton, showing once again his pace from last weekend. He has certainly not lost it. In fact, he's still got it. He makes his way around the next bend now, chasing Simon Vigang, who will now be without DRS. That gap has increased to 1.6 seconds, as you saw on that straight just before that bend where Alvaro Carreton made that move. Simon did not have DRS down that straight, and that is going to affect his chances of closing up with Jarno Opmeer. Jarno, now all he has to worry about is just hold on and increase the gap as much as possible, as we now see Alvaro Carreton 3.5 tenths in fact behind Simon Vigang, not far at all, and surely without the DRS Simon Vigang is going to be exposed to that of the Williams. So they make their way through the quick left right, heading on now towards sector 3. You can see now the meter boards coming into the next right-hander. As you can see, these cars very closely bunched. The DRS trade still very much enforced here as they make their way around the next bend, heading towards the final few corners of this track here at the Albert Park Street Circuit. As we now see the Rocket Williams make its way around the Toro Rosso in close proximity as Simon Vigang makes a pit stop. Probably not a bad idea in reference to what's been going on. Certainly it's going to be a case that when it comes to DRS trains, you are in a situation we might have to make strategy maneuvers. We now see Onyx make a move. He's made an impressive start. He's moved up to P6 now, and looking ever dangerous. CRG Common moving up to P7 as well, moving his way from the back of the grid. If he can maintain this form, he's going to look good by the end of this Grand Prix, Maku.
Yeah, as well as Flying Finn. He's now in 5th position. I mean, he's also chasing the people in front. But there's a little gap between Corno and Alvaro Aznar, which is almost exactly a second. So yeah, it will be interesting to see if they get DRS next time, but if they don't, they might lose the gap to them as well and fall back a little bit.
Well, Camel Common there, just making a move on Onyx going out there. We just watched the cameras were rolling, watching that move take place. I got to say, they got very close, very nearly ended in calamity for both cars. A lot of wheel spin happening around that bend. The other Mercedes, VSR Corner, moving up into P4, and he's being plugged by the Flying Finn, last week's Chinese Grand Prix winner, in the Red Bull. Plugging all over the back of the Mercedes, so he's got problems on his case at the moment. Certainly behind him, that Red Bull getting ever closer, and he's going to have to try and defend from any potent attack down this straight now. Obviously, the Red Bull both have Well, in fact, only the Red Bull having, I think, the DRS, because Corno's flap is not open as they make their way down towards the next bend. So could it be the case that Flying Finn makes yet another overtake here down this straight? We'll soon find out, as now the DRS will open up. We're now watching these two bomb down the next stretch, heading towards the next right-hand bend, but no, not close enough this time. The Red Bull's going to have to live to fight another day. And VSR Corno, now in P3, obviously due to pit stops, has still got to fight off the advances of the Flying Finn. As we look further down, Jarno Opmeer back out in P10, already making moves in the grid, going ahead of Calcifer, and he's got Bernardo Perez, who's about 7 to 8 seconds in front of him there. And Bernardo Perez now trying to fight with Jan Feeler. As CRG Simon goes ahead of Calcifer as well with that potent pace. Certainly those new hard tyres looking quick right now. Certainly looking to go to the end. A one-stop strategy seems to be the choice here, Maku.
Yeah, I think too. Not the classical soft medium. I'm not sure if someone goes for it. If he can, theoretically the tires should last that long, but it's just a safer thing to go for the soft medium. But I don't know, if you start on mediums, I think you want it to go on softs afterwards, because medium hard is not the best strategy, because then you never have the fast tire.
No, well, if you remember, Simon Vigang was 1.5 seconds behind Jarno Opmeer. He's managed to close the gap now, and he's within the DRS track now after that pit stop. So he made the correct move of pitting when he did. He managed to recover the time lost, get back onto the back end of that Mercedes and give him a fighting chance of making a move onto P1. So he's still very much in the frame here. Naturally, Jarno Opmeer and CRG Simon net P1 and 2 due to pit stops. Obviously, the latter still yet to pit for their first set of tyres. You can now see Simon Vigang still using DRS. Jarno Opmeer hasn't got DRS because there's no car ahead of him within a second, so he's got to try and fight off the advances of CRG Simon. Simon obviously on his mind thinking, I've got to get the job done at some point, and sooner rather than later, maybe just to give me a chance of trying to push on from Jarno Opmeer as best I can. That'll certainly be the option he's looking for. As you see there, Calcifer dropping back in, Famous plugging onto the back end of Calcifer, and Famous managing to capitalise himself as well. He's ahead of Napadovsky after that pit stop. I think after the front wing change has allowed Infamous to move on, and he goes in tight on Calcifer there, and Calcifer shutting the door instantly, not allowing that Renault to make that move going into the chicane, and that allows Napadovsky to get back into the frame here, and he's in within 0.7 of a second, Maku.
Yeah, I think Infamous isn't liking this at all, because Calcifer is surely not fighting for positions, because he had a incident further on. I'm not sure what happened. I think he spun or something. I don't want to tell it something wrong. Could be he didn't. I'm not sure right now. But yeah, he was all the way down the table, so he's kind of holding him a little bit off. Not good for Infamous, because he surely wants to catch Simon and Jarno, and they're now completely gone.
Well, out comes Alvaro Aznar, and he moves up just in front. You just saw Infamous there, nearly just swoosh in front of the Toro Rosso. It got very, very close on the inside of that corner there. You can just see it's obviously very, very close between the pits. Pitting lines and the actual track where the cars will go past, and the Toro Rosso getting away unscathed there, very nearly losing the front wing if he wasn't careful. But he's on the fast to medium compound, looking at a two-stop strategy, which is probably not a bad thing considering, and it'll be interesting to see how it compares against the hard tyre strategy that we've seen a lot of these guys take, therefore trying to seek out a one-stop. So it'd be interesting to see how much pace the soft tyres get towards the end of this Grand Prix. See if it's as effective as Alvaro Aznar is hoping it'll be as he makes his way down the swinging left-hander. VSR and Famous already plugged to the front end of the Raging Bull as they make their way around the quick left right now. And surely the Toro Rosso looking to make a move yet again. Just under 2:10 separating these two. And surely he's got intentions on his mind to make an overtake as he dashes down the inside looking for a late lunge on the inside of the right-hand bend. And they're still wheel to wheel. A little bit of afters there on the exit of that bend, heading round towards the next right-hander. Very soon taking the last couple of corners, as you see there. Napadovsky going a little wide, heading into the final couple of bends, just rubbing against the gravel there slowly. As you can see now, Alvaro Aznar, he'll have a chance now with the fact that he has DRS to plug away at the back end of Infamous. Whether he's got it, I don't know, and he drafts wide to try and avoid the slipstream, I think, of the Williams, who he may have thought was looking to make a move, but not on this occasion. And Alvaro Aznar left frustrated yet again, trying to overtake this Renault in front of him, Maku.
Yeah, he's really giving him a challenge. But yeah, that's what we used from Infamous. I mean, he's not a slow driver. He just needs to keep on with Alvaro Carreton, and yeah, Alvaro Aznar will of course try to get past him. But yeah, I'm not sure who of those two would be the quicker driver. So maybe one of them could maybe if Infamous was overtaken by Alvaro Aznar, Alvaro Aznar could drag those three back again to the back of Alvaro Carreton. Oh my God, those two names. I'm really getting. Oh, we have a little bit of contact between Alvaro Aznar and Infamous.
Yeah, but he's really pushing, and Infamous actually has suffered greatly there. Napadovsky swinging round and passing the Renault. I'm not sure whether he's got damage. I don't think so. The front wing looks okay, but the Toro Rosso moving up into P9. Just to say, though, he did suffer a time penalty for warnings there because he did end up scuppering. And it did show at race control that he has indeed got a time penalty. So obviously he was pushing the car maybe that little bit too hard and ending up going over the curves maybe a little too much and breaching the rules of the track. As you now see in behind Napadovsky getting closer and closer to the back of Alvaro Aznar. If we look up the field though, Jarno Opmeer really chopping away at the gap between him and Jan Fiedler. Remember that gap was 8 seconds. He's now brought it into 4.5 and he's eating away at those times considering he's on the harder tyre. And Jan Fiedler will surely have to pit eventually. Jarno Opmeer without any question will surely move into official P1 of the race should the pit stops occur. As you can see there, Simon Viegang still maintaining that gap behind the Mercedes of Jarno Opmeer. Currently 4.5 tenths separating these two as they make their way down towards the next left-right. And you can see that the Mercedes looking all business right now, heading on the exit and taking the curb there on the outset. And you can see there the McLaren getting closer and closer, but looking behind as well. Let's not forget Alvaro Carreton, who's managed to whittle his way into the frame. As you were saying earlier, Maku, certainly looking like the pace of Alvaro Carreton is something to savour, as he's already set the fastest lap of the race so far with a 1:24. And I'm sure I'm not going to be out of line by saying that he's going to impose his pace on this front row very, very shortly. I'm sure he certainly will as they make their way down the straight here in lap 13 of 29. And very, very soon it would be without question that a lot of these guys at the top end are going to be looking to pit on their first tyre compound change of this race so far. So we will allow Jarno Opmeer to take the official P1 spot with Simon Viegang in P2 and Alvaro Carreton in P3.
Yeah, let's just hope those three guys don't get involved in an incident. Maybe during overtaking, if they need to overtake on track and cannot overtake while the other guys are in pits, so they can have a clean battle. Because I think this will be really interesting. Alvaro is now really closing in on Simon, and he's now no, he was just taking a look, but I think he wasn't quite fast enough. So yeah, but he will sure take a look into the next corners, and yeah, we'll see maybe a change there. Maybe Alvaro Carreton is then giving Jarno a little bit of challenge, and there goes Simon defending.
Yes, hugging the inside of the apex there, trying to maintain his car in P2, well, net P2, should I say. That Williams swarming all over the back end. He swallows a little bit of gravel there on the outset, leading into that final, well, that second last bend. And that's not going to help the Williams at all. And once again, Alvaro Carreton left frustrated. Remember, he's on the medium compound tyre, so his tyres won't go as long as what the hards will. So he's once again going to be left frustrated. So he really needs to get past these two as soon as possible to get the most out of those mediums if he's to have any chance of getting a P1 in this Grand Prix. As they make their way down the straight now, the DRS open on the Williams car, and he is currently 4 tenths, or just over 4 tenths behind CRG Simon, who's doing extremely well of defending against the imposing Williams. And don't forget, he's got a battle of his own. He's focusing on P1 because he doesn't want Jarno Opmeer escaping either. Those two are on a similar stretch of hard compound tyres, and certainly giving us a show here, because that pace has allowed Jarno Opmeer to get inside Jan Fiedler by another 2 seconds. So very soon that racing point is going to be plugged to the front end of that Silver Arrows, and he's going to have every chance of once again moving his way up the grid, subject to penalties, subject to pit stops as well, sorry. So Maku is literally a matter of time, but I'm really looking forward to seeing which of these strategies work out better. Is it going to be Alvaro Carreton's medium strategy, or is it going to be Jarno Opmeer and Simon Viegang's hard strategy?
Yeah, it will be really interesting to see. But I think this track is really friendly to the hard tires, or the hard tires are really friendly to this track. So they have more grip than on other tracks, so you can at least drive them here. But yeah, let's see. Another thing I just mentioned, James Baldwin went for a second pit stop just this lap. And I think he had some kind of problems, maybe an incident because, or he lost somehow his front wing. I'm not sure, but with now being in 17th place, that's nearly his race completely over, unfortunately.
Well, just to say, Alvaro Carreton going for a sweeping move on the inside, heading there. The Brabham's down in the distance, and he does it. P2 for Alvaro Carreton will net P2. He moves into P6 of the race so far, but in behind now, he's got to try and chase Jarno Watmere. The frustration is over, at least for now. He's got to try and battle back against Jarno Watmere now and try and overtake him to at least make the medium compound system work. As you can see now, the Silver Arrow is still begging away to hold on to that P5, at least for now. You can see that the Williams in the background, and that gap between him and the McLaren of Simon Vigang getting, well, deeper and deeper. I've got to say, that was a phenomenal move there by Alvaro Carreton, swooping down on the inside, making the most of the pace of the car, broke a little later, and he was able to capitalise on those medium compound tyres. He makes his way around. He is now plugged into the back of the Mercedes, and as they make their move around the last few dying bends of lap 15, they'll soon be trying to capitalise their way in lap 16 to try and make a move on each other. You see there the Williams getting closer and closer to the back of the Mercedes. The Silver Arrows against the traditional old car. That is the Williams team as they make their way down the straight now. You can now see that Alvaro Carreton is probably as close as he'll ever be, and Jarno knows he's got a battle on his hands here, because in comes Alvaro Carreton on the inside, but Jarno Watmere once again defending, holding on to P1, as you can now see. Very, very tight, these two, as they make their way down towards the next right-hander, and you can see now the Williams getting squeezed out. Jarno Watmere going deep there on the bend, but you can see that Williams has dominated it. He's managed to make the move. The medium tyres come to grips again, takes P1, the Williams driver on top once again, Maku.
Yeah, really exciting things to see. I always love it how you can see that you're really a lot faster on the medium tires, but if you're behind guys who are on, for example, on the hard tires, who are slower than you, you really see if they're a good defender, they can hold you back, as we've seen with Simon. He was like 2 laps. He needed to stay behind him because he couldn't just pass, even though he was a lot faster with his medium tires. But yeah, now he needs to make at least a pit stop worth of time, or let's say half a pit stop worth of time, and make the other half after his second pit stop, to really make his strategy work.
He certainly will, and I've got to say, he really needs to push, and try and increase the gap. It's now 6 tenths, moving into 7 tenths now, in fact, and on this straight I can see that growing, because naturally the difference between the softs and the mediums and the hards, approximately 7 tenths separating the generic compounds in the Pirelli tyres, so he'll have an advantage of that, but he needs to ensure that he can keep those mediums fresh and working long enough so he can increase the gap between him and Jarno Watmere. Because remember, don't forget, Alvaro Carreton's going to have to make one more stop to make the strategy work, like you say, Maku. And certainly he's got that on his mind, and Jarno Watmere knows that. And whether he's just going to try and hang on to the back end of that Williams at least long enough so he could move ahead in the last stages of this Grand Prix, I'm sure he has that on his mind. As you can see in the background, CRG Simon now whittled back into half a second. So Simon and Jarno still very much glued to the back of each other, and, well, front to back of each other. As you can now see, Alvaro Carreton closing up to VSR Jake, the Renault now. Still yet to pit. He's currently 10.5 seconds behind Kamil Common, who is now in P3. CRG Common, that is, in P3, making a really good recovery after that start at the back of the grease. You now see VSR Jake being taken by Alvaro Carreton, just sweeping there easily, and I think you can just see the difference in the tyre lives right now, because I'd imagine VSR Jake will be looking to pit sooner rather than later. As you can see now, Jarno Watmere already on the back end of him, and that just shows the difference in degradation of those tyres. You can see there, Jake does indeed go into the pit lane, and that allows the Mercedes to move up into P5, and following suit is Simon Vigang, who now chases the Silver Arrows down the straight leading into turn 1. Alvaro Aznar coming into the frame as well, and so's Napadovsky after that wing change. So they're now all starting to reform almost like we saw it at the start of the Grand Prix, folks. Currently leading the way, though, is VSR Corno, being closely chased by Flying Finn, his compatriot, in the Red Bull car in P2, who hasn't shown the form that he had from last week. What a recovery, what a return drive that was to get P1 at China, but unfortunately today does not have the same story. But he is in P2 for now and got a battle of his own on the case with his own Mercedes to deal with. But Camel Common, CRG Common, still very much behind him. 8.5 tenths separating those two, Maku.
Yeah, well, we don't know if he maybe comes back later on in the race. I mean, he surely aims for going on the softs next stint. And yeah, I think he's then going for the overtakes. He wants to gain a lot of places after his pit stop, because he will fall back a lot of places. But then he has a much better tire than everyone on the current field, because they're all on mediums or hards. Well, maybe not Alvaro Carreton and Alvaro Aznar. Those two will go for the softs later on too.
Well, the thing is, Flying Finn, if he wants to make this work, I think he's going to have to obviously try and pit within the next lap or so, and he's really going to have to push to try and at least maintain some sort of a gap between him and Alvaro Carreton, because naturally he's got the advantage in this Grand Prix, though he has to pit again. Jarno Opmeer, probably your net P1 as things stand, obviously subject to the pit stops that we do have remaining, Alvaro Carreton being one of them, as well as Flying Finn. So you never know. Indeed, you could be right here, Maku. If Flying Finn can hold on and come out as soon as possible and put in a few fast laps on soft tyres, he could well make that recovery. But he's really going to have to push. But judging from what we saw last week, he's not without pace, that's for sure.
Yeah, and exactly that's what we are looking for. But yeah, no, with Flying Finn leading all of the other guys on the mediums before or pitting, he's the only one with his tires as he started on, out there on track. And we see now, as we take a look at Alvaro Carreton, he's not really pulling away from Jarno, but I think as long as Jarno can stay in this DRS window, it's not really hard to follow him, because that makes the difference in tire. Yeah, that makes it.
He's not making the most of the 7/10 gap between the two tyre compounds, is he? I got a feeling he might have been stuck behind Simon Vigang a bit too long early on in the race, and actually these tyres, certainly if you're pushing them hard and harder and harder, they can degrade quite quickly. And I got to say, I think that's what Jarno is hoping for, to try and put the pressure on as much as he can, and therefore reduce the effectiveness of those medium tyres, because I've got to say that gap has shrunk massively. It is now within 0.4 of a second, which was earlier on, if you remember folks, 0.7 of a second going on to 0.8, and Jarno managing to plug back, showing that his raw ability to try and plug back at Alvaro Carreton on the medium tyres. Alvaro's got a lot to think about now, because he knows that Alvaro's got pace, and the fact that he's so close, given the fact that he's on harder tyres, it's definitely something to worry about, Maku.
Yeah, and especially if you take a look at the interval time to the leader, you'll see after the pit stop he will drop back to like behind Bernardo, maybe even behind Onyx. So yeah, he will need to fight that up really.
They're going to have to really battle. As you can see there, Simon Vigang though still treading water behind that of the Silver Arrows. He's keeping up with him, and right in the gearbox of the Silver Arrows, making their way around the final bend now. And you get the feeling that Jarno might have a chance here, even though he's on the latter compound. He might, if he can open the wing, get closer and closer to the back of the Williams, maybe have another go on the second straight. As you can now see, he's really pushing, and if he can get ahead, that'll really give him a massive advantage going into the latter stages of lap 21 as they make their way down towards the next corner now. You can see Simon Vigang still staying in touch as well, making their way in around the next right-hander, and as long as, like we've been saying folks, he stays behind this Williams as close as possible, he could yet be in store for yet another P1. It's been a phenomenal showing from all these drivers. They've been giving us a real show as we now look through the grid. You can see Simon Vigang still chasing that of Jarno Opmeer. Nothing much separating these two. Only just under 0.5 separating between the orange car and the silver car as they make their way down towards the next chicane. That being the Clark turns 9 and 10. And they've still got to negate yet another sweeping left-hander. You can see there in the background Alvaro Aznar moving clearer away from Napadovsky. That gap now verging on 2 seconds. And so he's showing pace, but not quick enough to close up on Simon Vigang, who I think is very much making use of the toe that Jarno Opmeer is giving him here, Maku.
Yeah, for sure he is, and I don't think he's just pushing right now. I mean, he of course needs to be. He needs to stay close to Jarno, and if Jarno makes his overtake to Alvaro, Simon will need to get close to Alvaro Carreton too. And of course, he wants to try to overtake him too because he wants to get the win too, as all of these drivers won. But yeah, I just thought a little bit about maybe Alvaro Carreton is also trying to bring this home on this set of tires. I'm not sure about that, but I mean, it will be the only possibility for him to win, and maybe even for the podium, because going on softs now would mean to drop down over 10 places.
Yeah, I can't see
And
that being on
yeah,
top of his strategy list. Do you really think he'll? Well, he probably doesn't have much of a choice, does he? He's probably got to push the ball away
yeah.
and hope for the
I
best.
mean, I think it's possible, but he pushed already a lot of the laps. So I'm not sure what his tire wear says, but we don't want the same thing to happen to him as James Baldwin in America.
No, because obviously punctures can become fairly common as you wear those tyres. You see now Jarno getting very close to the back end of the Williams. He has a little look down the inside in Sector 3. As you can see now, they're making their way around the last few turns of lap 22. Now this is when the race starts to pick up, folks, from memory. Remember, the final 6 laps is always a killer here at ORL, and that's when you start seeing the real essence of the race really start to unfold as they make their way around towards the straight now, ready to start lap 23. Oh, 29, as you can see, Jarno Watmere surging up closer and closer to the back of the Williams. You can see the ORL logo in the background there as they make their way around turns 1 and 2, when Alvaro Carreton is going to get his best defensive shields on now, because he's going to try and battle back against that of Jarno Watmere as they dash down towards the next right-hander, and Alvaro Carreton still maintaining P1 at least for now, but the Silver Arrows has got intentions on his mind. He's got P1 intentions on his mind, and as he said in the interview, I'm not letting anything go. It's going to be P1 every race if I can help it, and he's certainly showing that here today as they make their way around the next right-hander. That Mercedes not leaving the back of that Williams as they make their way out now. We've got a virtual safety car as Hayes has DNF from the race, Maku.
No, I think that happened earlier. That's already a while ago, but I'm not sure what the virtual safety car was for.
It's really strange. I mean, I can't see any immediate changes in the classifications.
Yeah, I mean, but Hayes already DNF'd in lap 16, so and that has to have another reason. Yeah, maybe it's just one of the game bugs. Someone went wide and triggered the virtual safety car.
Could well be, could well be. No immediate scenes as to who triggered that safety car as they make their way out now, heading towards the next straight, and this will help Jarno quite a bit because naturally the restart pace is something you've got to really perfect, and against these drivers, every millisecond counts, folks. Every millisecond. And DRS has been re-enabled now, so that helps Jarno Watmere heading round the straight. And as they head down towards turns 1 and 2, you can just see the Mercedes once again getting closer. Alvaro did well at the restart, in fact, managing to increase the gap slightly. And as they burst round onto the next straight now, you can just see the Silver Arrows still edging closer. It wasn't enough, he said, as they make their way down towards the next corner. You see Alvaro Carreton defending there as the Mercedes sweeps around the outside. Is he able to get it on the repeat? No! Alvaro Carreton with an expert piece of defending, managing to hold off the approaching Mercedes of Jarno Watmere. These two giving us a real show here, folks. And I gotta say, it's been absolutely enthralling. It's very much similar to China last week, where we saw a battle between no less than 6 cars. It was absolutely amazing to see it all unfold as the Mercedes once again edges closer and closer to the back end of Alvaro Carreton here in lap 24 of 29. And we're certainly going to be in for a photo finish. They make their way around the sweeping left-hander. Alvaro Carreton has really got to try and hold on for the next 5 laps at least to try and take P1, but remember, Jarno is going to have the better tyres leading towards the end of this Grand Prix. But don't count out Carreton because he is known to be quick, and I got to say, this will be a different test for him today. He's got to try and to make those tyres last as long as possible without losing that much pace. And I got to say, that is a real stiff test, Maku.
Yeah, that as so with tyres, I've always been bad playing myself. I never could have done the tire challenge in the training sessions. So I can't really imagine how hard it must be to manage your tires while fighting off Jarno Opmeer, one of the best esports drivers we have here, or the best, I would say nearly the best esports driver we have in the league. But maybe Alvaro Carreton can take this place.
I don't think he'd like the fact that you said nearly. I think he considers himself the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could be in line for a black eye when the interviews come around after this race, Maku.
Yeah, I will be. I have to say it then. You're nearly the best esports.
Yeah, just hope he hasn't been watching the stream, otherwise you're in real big trouble.
Uh,
as we know, make their way around the next sweeping left-hander. Alvaro Carreton still maintaining that P1 spot. Don't forget, though, Jarno Opmeer plugging away once again. I got to say, folks, we can't bring you anything else, but this top three battle has been nothing but intoxicating. As we now see Jarno Opmeer diving down the outside of the Williams of Alvaro Carreton, who's trying to hold on. Jarno goes wide and shutting the door. Does Alvaro Carreton holding on to P1, and the Williams still maintains his position. But can he do it down the straight? I've got to say that was a close call, because Jarno very nearly losing it on the edge of the circuit there as they make their way onto the home stretch. I got a feeling his number could be up this time, because that Williams is as close as it's ever been on the home straight. Here comes the Silver Arrows. Jarno Opmeer diving down the inside, and they're going wheel to wheel, toe to toe on the outset of turns 1 and 2, heading down towards the next bend, and it's the Mercedes that has the edge going down towards the next corner. Here comes Simon Vigang battling in third place, but no, it's Jarno Opmeer taking P1. Alvaro Carreton at the mercy of Simon Vigang, who is struck now to try and put his McLaren in P2, but no! Great defending from the Williams. Alvaro Carreton in P2, but Jarno Opmeer steals the show. P1 for the Mercedes.
That was so hard for Alvaro to keep Jarno off, I think. And now with a great move, Jarno's done it. So Alvaro's sure hard pick for the podium still, but he needs to fight off Simon to get this second place. I mean, he would have third anyway then. But though, you want to win. But catching Jarno with his tires now will be really hard to nearly impossible. I mean, even though he maybe has DRS, he maybe gets a little bit closer. He maybe gets a chance.
Well, you never know. Don't write him off, because he will have the DRS go down the home straight. And I got to say, can he do it on those medium tyres? That's the big question. We've only got 3 laps remaining now, folks, as they make their way across the line. As you can see, the pit lane engineers putting their time boards out. As you can now see them making their way around the first and second corners, and the Williams unable to get closer than he would have liked onto the back of Jarno Opmeer, but he's able to try and hold off Simon Vigang, at least for the time being. Don't forget, it's going to be really tight towards the end of this race. Simon Vigang's going to want to try and dispose of Alvaro Carreton as soon as possible, considering that he has on paper probably the better tyres at this point. But don't count out Alvaro Carreton. He's made these tyres last as best he can, and I got to say, it's been a very heroic battle from him to try and hold off Jarno Opmeer, at least for this long. We're now in lap 27 and 29, folks. Only approximately 2 to 3 laps remaining here at Australia at the Albert Park Street circuit. The man-made lake glistening in the sunshine as they make their way past the palm trees here, heading round the sweeping left-handers. You can see the quick left-right approaching. Simon Vigang getting closer and closer and closer to the back of the Williams car right now. And you can see it getting ever closer still as the DRS is now open, heading down into the Sector 3 mark of the track. And you can see as they make their way around the next right-hander, they've got yet more corners to take before they start lap 28. And it's been an absolutely enthralling end to this Grand Prix, and I got to say, these top guys in online racing certainly giving us a watch here. I hope you guys at home have all enjoyed it. Don't forget to vote who you think will be the driver of the day today, because I can imagine this battle has been nothing short of inspiring as they make their way down the straight now. Simon Vigang still left frustrated here in P3. Alvaro Carreton doing a heroic job of keeping his car in P2, considering the tyres, the age on those tyres, which must be getting to the point of near degradation as they come down towards the next bend here in lap 28. You've got the Silver Arrows there of Jarno Opmeer still cruising in front. He knows that as long as Alvaro Carreton is still in P2, he is doing okay. Just don't forget though, Camel Common, CRG Common has come into the fray here, Maku. And with only 2 laps to go, he's past Apadovsky and he's chasing Simon Vigang.
Yeah, he's 4 seconds off, but he has the softs. I mean, they're also degraded really much because of course those don't last that long. But I mean, Jarno and Alvaro and Simon, those 3 aren't driving on fresh tires either, so maybe he can catch up those 4 seconds. But I'm not sure if he can battle with it.
Where did Camel Common come from? He popped up like Casper the Friendly Ghost. I've never seen anything like it. The Toro Rosso moved into P4, and I've got to say, he's looking quick. And Alvaro Caraton, we just missed that, folks, sorry. Simon Vigang taking P2, and surely this gives Camel Common, CRG Common, an opportunity here to try and close the gap on the Williams. So we could be left with yet more battles here remaining here in the final laps. Can Alvaro Caraton still hold on to the end of this Grand Prix, or can CRG Common make some moves and start hustling towards the end of this Grand Prix? We are in the final lap, but we've got some movements going on in the near parts of the circuit. Camel Common trying to go wide, or should I say Alvaro Anstar there, nudging the wall, and he's actually lost his front wing, and Corno has now rounded him. I think he's lost a part of his front wing as well, and now what looks to be the Flying Finn has a great opportunity of closing the gaps. I don't know what has happened there, but that is unbelievable. And in the dying laps of the race, that is surely going to be looked at. That is absolutely outstanding. I've got to say, I've never seen anything like that at all in a final lap. I'm not sure what happened there, Maku. I'm not sure whether you had any thoughts on that, but that was absolutely unbelievable.
No, I wasn't there at the moment. I've just seen it in the background more a little bit. But yeah, they lost a lot of front wings, so very unfortunate for the last lap. Yeah, maybe the Flying Finn can make something out of a few points again. But yeah, I think this GP has now, at least the first guys are now in the final spots. We won't see a photo finish, which will nearly as close as last time in China. But though, we have Jarno finishing first. Not even one single person who is lapped. Yes, I think Jan Fieler was lapped, I think.
Yeah, well,
yes, he was just lapped in the last lap.
Yeah, well, Jarno Opmeer is your victor here at the Australian Grand Prix and takes it in comprehensive style on the one-stop strategy of the hard tyres. Alvaro Caraton bringing it home in P2 after Simon Vigang's penalty earlier on. That's dropped him back to P4, and that allows Williams to take a double podium here today. Ps 2 and 3 for the Williams team, and that is points very much needed, I gotta say, and that'll boost them right up the standings, and that could give him a chance to go toe-to-toe with McLaren in the constructors' standings. And Napadovsky, that's going to help him big time as well, because he's chasing Simon Vigang in the latter stages for the P2 place. What a phenomenal race. I gotta say, Camel Common, he's my driver of the day without question. What are your thoughts, Maku?
Yeah, Camel Common. Where did he start actually?
Back of the grid.
In 18th. Oh right, he DNF'd in qualifying instantly. So, what a phenomenal drive from him. Yeah. We didn't even mention him that much, but yeah, just amazing how he fought back to 5th place. And more points than Alvaro Asna for the Toro Rosso team. But yeah. Phenomenal. What a crazy race.
It was a crazy race towards the end, an absolute phenomenal scene. I hope you guys enjoyed it at home. Jarno Opmeer once again taking P1 this season after an intoxicating, thrilling finish. But the plaudits will go to Jarno Opmeer on a tremendous victory. In P2, the Williams team taking Ps 2 and 3, should I say. Nabadovsky bringing it home in P3. But let's not forget the courageous approach from Alvaro Caraton in P2 to take P2 there. But what a phenomenal race it was indeed. Some action all across the circuit as we now look at the final result classifications. Jarno Opmeer is your P1 victor here for Mercedes. Alvaro Caraton making it P2. Nabadovsky P3. 2-3 for the Williams team. CRG Simon P4. CRG Common in P5 after a great recovery drive from P18 on the grid right up to P5. A great drive from him. Infamous in P6. Corno P7. Jake P8, Alvaro Asnar P9, Flying Finn made it into the points P10, Bernardo Perez just outside P11, Calcifer P12, what a great recovery from him after that earlier incident, Onyx P13, James Baldwin P14 after that double pit stop, Leonard P15, Brownie P16, Jan Fieler P17, and our only DNF of the day, Hayes in P18 on the classifications list. But what a race, Maku, what a race indeed.
Yeah, what an interesting thing. With those 3 guys at the end of the race really giving each other a battle. I think that was something Jarno was looking for also, because a lot of his races were without speed barrier were kind of boring. A lot of the times he just drove in front of all of the field, was kind of lonely there, no fights. And this time, Alvaro Carreton and Simon really had a lot of fun together with him on track, I think.
Certainly did, and I got to say, we were not left disappointed. There were lots of battles going on the circuit. Australia, very tricky for battles as well, but because it's a very fast street circuit, we were able to maintain a very much a DRS train going through the earlier stages of the race, which is no surprise considering the fact that the quality of the drivers we do have here in ORL, and certainly credit goes to all of them for giving us such a wicked encounter. And I must say, I'm very mightily impressed with the lot of them, and they certainly gave us a battle to be proud of. Very soon, folks, we will be having driver interviews here today, and we'll very much look forward to bringing you those very, very shortly. I hope you've all enjoyed yourselves. Please leave your comments in the chat as well. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the ORL Racing channel. It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope you've all enjoyed the commentary from myself and Maku as well. It's been an absolute pleasure bringing it to you once again this Thursday evening, and trying to entertain your weeknights, considering the fact that we're all on lockdown from that dreaded coronavirus. But we try to make things exciting, don't we, Maku? At least do our best.
Yeah, of course. We try to do our best. We try to entertain you a little bit, to maybe distract you a little bit from all what's going on, and yeah, hopefully you had fun.
Absolutely.
As we did.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, we always have fun. I mean, we love it here. We're like, you know, like they say, monkeys in a zoo when it comes to slot. Yeah. At least that's what my PE teacher used to say back in school all those years ago. I mean, all those years ago, folks. But yes, Jarno's made it into the caster booth. Welcome, Jarno.
Yo.
That was a sweaty one, without shadow of a doubt. And I don't mean just because it was Australia. It generally was, because I thought Alvaro Carreton was going to pit in that one, but he didn't. That was really quite thrilling towards the end.
Yeah, it was quite exciting. I was really confused when everyone went on mediums, because I didn't even think Alvaro was going to make it till the end, because I thought he was going to have a puncture. But well, GG for making it to the end to Alvaro, because I didn't expect that. But yeah, the mediums dropped off too much in the end for him, so
yeah, it was.
Too.
Sorry, yeah, it was no surprise, because I got to say you were really plugged onto the back end of it. I'm just, by the way, Mako, I've just started the interview anyway. I just rolled into it.
Yeah. Of course, it's okay.
Yeah.
The only thing I needed to say is you shall keep them a little bit shorter than especially last time, because we had like a 20-minute interview, and yeah, I think at some point it just isn't interesting to watch anymore.
Well, I thought your stand-up comedy was brilliant last time, so.
Yeah, but especially last time, I thought the interview was a little bit too long. So yeah.
All right. Okay.
I mean, hopefully they're joining a few other people, because with just you, Jarno, we're a little bit lonely and we won't get that much stuff to interview about.
Well, no, we're having an hour with Jarno Otmia now for the rest of the show. So it's
the after show, the after party.
The Jarno Opmeer podcast.
Yeah, the Opmia
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I got to say, there was plenty of action there to fill a podcast. But like you say, here's Simon Vigang as well. Simon, how you doing?
Hello, I'm doing all right.
Good man. Well, I tell you what, we'll crack on anyway. We'll let the guys filter in. We'll carry on with you, Jarno. Obviously, another P1 once again, phenomenal race, and certainly, like you were saying to me just now, very, very close to you were pretty much plugged into the back of Alvaro Carreton, despite him pitting onto medium tyres. He just could not quite get away, could he? And therefore, I think he had to go on with a one-stop strategy. Would you say it was sort of job well done at the end there, after all that?
Yeah, I mean, I think me and Simon worked a bit together when he just was in fresh mediums, because he closed the gap, which was 4 seconds, I think, so really fast. So me and Simon had to stay within the rest of each other, so it was gonna be harder for Alvaro to overtake us. So he got held by us a little bit, which I think cost him quite some time, because mediums obviously went off faster. So I think we did it pretty well, not fighting. So yeah, as I said, I really didn't expect Alvaro to go on mediums, because I thought they were not going to make it. So yeah.
No, it was interesting, because obviously if he stayed in front, he probably could have made a two-stop strategy work if he managed to drag out the pace, but you managed to stay behind him, and I think that's probably what caused him to stay out on those tyres. Got to say, at any point did you think did you obviously have in your mind that he was going to go for another stop?
No, I didn't. I mean, two stops on Melbourne doesn't really work because you're gonna get held by other drivers, and it's quite hard to overtake. There are only like two really places, so you cannot really get through the traffic easily when on fresh tires. So, I mean, I know the soft to medium strategy is an option, but it almost never works from what I've seen. So.
No, that's a fair assessment. I mean, looking at it now, 25 points once again, adding your total up now to 186. Ever think about donating some to Field, or?
I don't think that's possible, to be fair, but yeah, I mean, it's been quite a good season. I think I've been quite consistent, so especially in the race qualifying, I've not done really well this season, to be fair. A lot of mistakes, but yeah, I hope to fix that for the future.
Yeah, well, the driver standings may well be complete, but the team standings is still very much alive. Only before the race today, Red Bull, the closest constructor to you, currently separated by approximately 43 points. You Mercedes being on 188 before before obviously the start of this Grand Prix, and 145 for Red Bull. So you've still got something to really go out there and strive for. Naturally, it'd be good to get the double, I'd imagine. Driver standings and team standings. Is that very much on the agenda now for the rest of the season?
I mean, rest of the season I just try to win all the races, which is not easy, of course, but yeah, I just try to win as much race as possible, and I don't have the same teammate all the time, so we not really work together on that, I would say. But yeah, I'll just try to win every race possible.
Yeah, okay. Well, many congratulations on that P1 victory, and we'll see you again next week, without a doubt.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll move on now to CRG Simon. Simon V-Gang, my good man. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you.
Daylight robbery once again. You were booted out of the top three. I didn't foresee where your penalty came from. Can you talk us through it?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's just personal. It's just me and myself being somewhat incompetent, I have to say. I mean, starting from pole. I mean, lap one incident, I just felt a whack from behind. Someone just pushed me to the reverse.
Yeah, I didn't know what happened to you there because you went out wide,
yeah,
didn't you?
Yeah, just braked on my own point, but then I just felt a whack and went wide. So it was probably like a lag bubble or some shit. Well, that wasn't too bad because I actually regained those positions a few laps later, I think, going for a double overtake when two people ahead of me were fighting. I think it was Alvaro and Napadowski or something. And then I was back behind Miano. From this point on, race was pretty much open again. And then, as you said, I just got a penalty. I got in the pit lane, 5 seconds sub go, just going too fast into it, which is it's just not excusable, really. That's just mistakes that can't happen. And if I want to win races, even they can't happen. And just I did that. Pace-wise, I think I was in the fight for the win, as I not usually am, I think. But I'm just did stupid mistakes, and I have to work on those.
Well, as we saw from last week at China, penalties make all the difference because naturally you guys are so close on pace. You're literally within tenths of a second of each other, pretty much. We saw last week that Alvaro Carreton dropped through the grid and ended up sacrificing P1 to Flying Finn. Is discipline a major factor in racing such as this, given the fact that you are that close to each other in terms of deltas?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you work on everything but forget when to brake for the pit lane, then you don't deserve to be in the podium. And yeah, you just have to work on that.
I tell you what, I really appreciate your honesty, but no less, your performance was phenomenal. Outside of that, very, very close, some great battles as well, and I'm sure we'll see you at the top end once again, Simon. Well done.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if the remaining drivers on the podium are going to be coming to join us. Have you heard anything, Maku?
No, I've not heard anything about the other drivers, unfortunately. I think we should have Alvaro Carreton. He was tagged, but he didn't mention anything, so I assume he won't come. But one thing to announce, I mean, we kind of knew it already, but now it's official. It's now impossible that Jarno cannot win the championship, which means Jarno is the champion of the ORL season 12.
Do you mean cannot lose the championship?
Yeah. No, it is impossible that he cannot win the championship.
Oh, cannot win. I thought you said it's
Yeah.
impossible that he can win. I said, well, what? Jarno, congratulations. You win the championship. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. But don't forget, you've still got the Constructors title still remaining. So it's not all over
Yeah,
yet.
exactly.
Yes, I'll try to get it as well in the next few races.
Get the
If
double.
Red Bull with P2 not gaining too much points, so
Yeah, both the Williams gained much points this race. So yeah.
oh yeah, I saw that P2, P3, so it's gonna be hard to keep Napadovsky and Alvaro behind if they're close. I don't know exactly.
Well, they're very tight behind McLaren, though they've got well over 100 points to find to catch you at the moment. So there's still a lot of work for Williams to do. But obviously they've got two very competitive drivers there. So whether they can try and power on through the next few races, it's still all to play for. Naturally, the impossible is possible, certainly in racing like this. So it remains to be seen, folks. But got to be fair, it's been phenomenal. Once again, an amazing race. Congratulations to Jarno Opmeer on winning the ORL Drivers' Championship once again. Well, winning another championship, should I say, not this one once again, but your first ORL Championship, if I'm not mistaken. So very congratulations to you as well on that. But brilliant stuff. I think we'll call it a day. Is it, Maku? Is that it?
Yeah.
Great stuff.
I think too.
Brilliant. Well, I got to say, folks, it's been once again a pleasure bringing you the Australian Grand Prix here at ORL for you guys here. My name's been George Morgan. He's been Maku. We'll see you next week for yet another race here at ORL. It's been nothing short of a pleasure, but don't forget to like, share, and subscribe as well. But from me, George Morgan, it's been a pleasure. Goodbye.
Goodbye.